A young man set out on a lifelong journey to cross a deep chasm filled with many dangerous obstacles. He skillfully crossed boiling whitewater rapids, avoided deadly whirlpools, and traversed a raging waterfall. After many years, he finally reached the other side of the chasm. He was now an old man, and his journey was almost over. But then he started to build a bridge back to the other side. A puzzled fellow traveler said to him, "Old man, you will never pass this way again. Why waste your strength building this bridge?" The old man said, "Just before I entered the chasm, I noticed a young child on the path. The dangers that I faced may prove fatal to one so young. So, good friend, I'm building this bridge for him."
I think I was most surprised by the immediate response of people to this idea. I think the biggest surprise to me was that when I originally had this concept and I just asked my bailiff to call about 5 different people in the community and tell them that we were interested in recruiting and training volunteers to appear in court and speak for the needs of children who were abused and neglected and obviously didn't have a voice of their own. And would they like to come up to juvenile court and have a brown bag lunch and talk about it? And out of those 5 contacts, when I walked into the lunchroom, there were 50 people there. And I said, this is going to work. After that, we hired a person to become the director of the local program. It focused on 2 things. Obviously, the legal aspect of the program was important, and the legal foundation and what the legal duties were for a volunteer in that situation. And then also, obviously, the social aspect of it. And it involved people from the Department of Social and Health Services who would explain what the functions were of the hearing and what was the important information and how to get it and how to do an interview and who to talk to, and training on basically the fact gathering. And also we hired a staff attorney at that point who was always available for them in the future if they had legal questions, legal problems, and the volunteers would always go into court with an attorney. I was involved in some of the training, obviously, and in explaining to them what was the judge looking for in this new position. Obviously, the basic principle is that each child that needs a voice in court is going to have a volunteer provide that voice. And I think that there are different ways to do that. The original program provided that the volunteer was actually a party to the action, a guardian ad litem for the child. And I think that, to me, was a very important fundamental principle. Unfortunately, for a lot of different reasons, some programs were not able to do that. But I think the fundamental key is that the volunteer should be the person that provides a needed voice for a child in court. And that can be done in a lot of different ways, and I think basically that's the fundamental principle on which the program's built. And I think every CASA organization is set up for that purpose. There are different ways to do it, and I think the ways of doing it probably have changed in some instances. The greatest honor that I ever had as an individual was I represented as a CASA volunteer a little boy who was about 3.5 when he was taken out of his home. And when he was placed in a foster home, his foster mom gave him a flower and he didn't know what it was, and he ate it. He thought it was food. But he did know that the proper response when someone knocked on your door was to pick up your toy gun and throw your back against the wall. And I represented him for about 4 years, and he eventually got back with his mother and was reunited with her. And when he was about 7 years old, at one of the last hearings I had with him, he was out in the lobby, obviously not in the courtroom, but the caseworker was there, And the caseworker came out of the courtroom, and Daniel ran over to her and said, come on, I want to introduce you to my best friend," and dragged her across the forum of the court and introduced the caseworker to me as his best friend. That was the biggest honor I've ever had.
People in life don't always realize as they live their lives that they have opportunities to leave for those behind them a way to keep going. In other words, building bridges for others to cross. And when I think about CASA, I think about the fact that the program right now is helping so many, many children. And I would like to think that there would be people who would be willing and want to build a bridge for those behind us to keep the program going. It doesn't stop. A bridge will help carry people through another year, another 2 years, and on to however. But there's always going to be a need for the children to have someone to speak up for them. And I hope that there will be many, many people who will take that upon themselves to build a bridge for those behind us to carry on the work of CASA. What did CASA look like back in 1988? Well, first of all, I don't even think I could call it an organization. It was just a group of people who got together after being told about CASA by Charlotte Evans, who came here from California, where she was very active in the CASA program there. And we had breakfast together one morning, she and my son Greg and Max and Bob Morrow. And Charlotte told us about the program and alerted us to the fact that right here in Kane County, there was a great need for these children who needed someone to speak up for them in court. And so we, a group of people got together, and we had our first 2 advocates sworn in by Judge Natalini. And from then on, we formed a board, and more people got involved, and that's how it all started. The greatest thing that has really happened is the awareness that it has become so prevalent in the last few years that not only the awareness that we do have child abuse in our county, in our area, but the fact that so many people are coming forward to offer whatever they can do for CASA. Not everyone can be an advocate, not everyone can serve on the board, but people are finding out that there is something, just as ordinary people, that they can make a difference in the life of a child. And that's what's so amazing. So many people have come forward. Our organization has grown. When you leave tonight, just take with you the image of a child who is waiting to have someone take their hand and lead them into a safe place. And you could do that. You could do that to take care of abused and neglected children. People in life don't always realize as they live their lives that they have opportunities to leave for those behind them a way to keep going, building bridges for others to cross. It will be a blessing to you.